Ollie, Simon's best man. I'd like to welcome you all here this evening. It's great to see you all here for the big day. I was very nervous about this now this morning, but it's great to have good friends. I was sitting in Wade's house this morning, reading over the speech and making sure everything was alright, and Ryan Scott came in and he said, "James Gordon," he said, "you're looking well." I said, "A suit, yeah." And I said, "Geez, why?" He goes, "What do you call a Gordon in a suit?" I said, "I don't know, fresh man." He goes, "No," he said, "the accused." When we were growing up, I didn't get much practice at the speeches. Simon was always the main man, he was the captain. I was always the vice captain, and some things never change. We went on the stag, and I even came in second place on the podium. I was very nervous about the speech today, but I was comforted by one thing. Jonathan, Simon's mechanic brother, sitting beside me here, has a 24-hour breakdown service, and he said if I break down today, he said he'd give me a jump start on the house. No bother. I'd like to congratulate Kelly for being the first person ever to keep Simon Wade waiting. For anyone that knows Simon, you'll always be waiting on him. Simon is the first man on the Western Gales married team. So next Christmas we're having a game. I think you're very well outnumbered. Today I thought Simon, to be honest, when I went to the church today, I thought Simon would be the first man to walk down the aisle after the bride. Fair play to you, Simon, you're on time today. I have to say the bridesmaids, Denise, Mary, Marie and Tara Jane, you look $1 million tonight. But however, you can only be overshadowed by one woman, Kelly. You look absolutely beautiful. I mean that. You just have a toast to the girls there. Our old boys, they didn't storm too bad either. The few final touches this morning by Maureen and the crew down there actually. In fairness, I think the whole lot of you turned out alright there tonight. Mary Clark told me, she said, "You're the best luck of winning the Given to Diamond Cross in a long time." So I wasn't meant to tell you that, but... When Simon and Kelly got engaged, I was absolutely delighted for him. And he asked me to be his best man. I was over the moon. And I'd really like to thank him today for that privilege. And to be honest, Simon, I'm a very proud man today. When I got this job, though, I came with 3 conditions from the woman herself. First, she said, "You need to get in shape, Ollie." Second, you're going to have to get a woman to keep you in line. And third, she's going to have to read the speech. I think I fulfilled all the requirements. The shape I chose was a circle. The woman to keep manners on me down there, she's my mother. And Kelly, you can never read the speech, but I just read it and need it right now. I'd like to thank all the people who have travelled from all over the world to be here today. People from Australia, America, and all over the UK and Ireland for this wedding. It's a testament to the people that Simon and Kelly are, the people who have travelled such distance to share this day with them. And a special mention to Mr. Michael John Crane, who travelled over to a stag 3 weeks ago, in Liverpool, lost his passport after boats, buses and trains, 3 different cities. He made it back in time for the wedding. I think he arrived back this morning. Come back, Crane! Simon mentioned earlier, myself and Simon met and we were 4 years old in national school. It's 23 years ago next Monday I met Simon Wade in Rattling National School. We both started school the same day. By strange coincidence, our father started school the same day many years beforehand. I didn't want to go to school that day. And I was causing a bit of a fuss in the hallway while Simon and Maureen walked in. As he says, they thought I was a bit of a lunatic. So anyways, I went to the door and my mother said to me, "Sure, look at Ollie," she says, "you know enough, sure, there's no point you going to school. You know enough." She said, "Sure, go in and get your school bag." So she goes to sit there beside the little red-haired guy in there, and I looked in and I seen what I thought was my school bag. And I ran in, and I went to grab the school bag, and this book here looked over to me and he says, "That's not your school bag." I said, "It is. The exact same school bag." I looked back, my mother was running out the door. Listen, Gavin had the chair up against the door. It turns out I wasn't as smart as my mother thought I was. And after that day, I sat down with Simon, and to be honest, it began the best friendship I ever had. That day we met at national school. But we soon learned that having the same school bags that day was going to be a massive advantage to me and him. We used to sit outside the school waiting for our mothers to collect us, or Granny Wade and Rosalie and Curly. We used to wait there and we used to sit on each other's school bags, as big young cool dudes do at 4 or 5 years old. But by one day, by accident, we brought the wrong school bags home. I brought Simon Wade's school bag home to my house, and Simon brought my school bag back to his house. But later on that evening, we figured out what happened. Maureen rang my house and she landed over. The two mothers Maureen landed over to our house and the kettle was boiled. There was tea, more tea. But myself and the book were playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the hallway. So we thought this was a great idea. So we kept this up for a while, anyways. It soon copped on. The mother says to me, she goes, "Ollie, you want to buck up? Simon Wade's handwriting's a lot better than yours." So we had to put a stop to this straight away. I had to put a stop to it. She kept comparing the two of us, everything I wrote and he done. So even the other day she asked me, "Ollie, is there any chance you going to get married?" I know it's hard to believe, but I am single. A bit of a story, myself and Simon. In 6th class, I don't think anything too interesting happened between junior infants and 6th class carriers. Kelly? No? Myself and Wade, we were renowned troublemakers in the national school, and it came around to the time the local nurse to come in and give us our MMR injections. But we decided, we were very nervous about it, me and Simon, but the two bucks went down, Mr. Derek O'Brien down there, and Mr. John Gordon, cool as a cucumber. They went down to the staff room to get their injections. Cool as cucumber, no problem, came down. Of course, me and Wade were next. We said, "What was that like?" "Not too bad, it's alright, sore enough. You'll be alright, be sound." So me and Wade went down. Done it, wasn't too bad. Walking up the hallway, and I said, Simon, Matty Kavanagh and David Kenny are next. So we walked up and David Kenny and Matty Kavanagh were walking down the hall and they said, "What was it like?" "Did you ever catch your finger in the door?" "Oh, 5 or 6 times worse than that." The two bucks kept walking down. Matty, if anyone knows him here, he's very sallow skinny, he's a brown dude, but he walked down anyways, and that was sound. He went and got his injections, and he was sitting in front of me and Simon in the school, side by side, the two of them. But me and Simon were behind them, and the two boys came up. Matty was yellow and green and all sorts of colours, and he was sitting beside David Kenny. Matty, we were looking, I was looking aside, and I said, "Jesus Christ, the boys are sound." Next thing we see Matty flying over with that, he fainted, he landed over on Kenny. Kenny gave him a shove on the shoulder, and Matty went flying out in the hallway. I looked away and I said, "Jesus Christ, we're in trouble." So the nurse came down, Miss Brady came out, they got Matty set up, give him a few glasses of water, that was sound. Next thing, eat out, quick. "What happened?" We said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You came down roaring and screaming that your arms were in awful pain altogether." And we said, "They were." They said, "No, Said the two of you, Gordon, you're down in 4th class, Wade, you're up to 6th class, you won't be sitting together again. That was the end of that. So after national school, we were all dispersed, and to be honest, I think Maureen sent Simon away from me. I went to the convent in Enniscrone, and he was sent to the all-boys school in Ballina. And Pip, a good friend of ours, Philip Carroll, he lived across the road from Simon. He went to the Tech in Eastgate. Anyone who knows Pip knows he was the Casanova of Ratley. He knew all the ins and outs of women. He knew what was going on. He travelled the world. He'd been to horse shows. We'd be looking at television, and he'd say, "See that one there? She fancies me." He had it all. Once he considered himself a cross between Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. Myself and Simon used to take our dating advice on the early days off Mr. Philip Carroll. We had no interest in women at all at the time. All we wanted to do was play football and hurling. But Mr. Pip had set up a triple date for myself and Simon in Ratley on a Friday evening at 7:30. But the problem was myself and Simon had a hurling match in Eastgate at 8:30. We didn't know what was going on, so he said to Pip, "What's the story now? Will we go down and meet these women? What do we do, like?" We don't know, we haven't a clue. So Carol, after we asked him a few questions, it made out anyways that he didn't know as much as he thought he knew. So we landed down to Maureen's, and we went in, and I said, "Carol, what's the story now? What do we do?" And he said, "Shut fuck it," he said, we got a dozen eggs. So we went out to Ratley Church to meet 3 women in Ratley, back in the old fella scooter, me driving, Wade in the middle, and Carol in the back. These 3 women thought they were going to meet the 3 finest men in Ratley. They did, but we had a dozen eggs with them. We landed down anyways, and they were all dolled up, and we landed with that. We landed with the eggs and we gave it to them. But needless to say, it was the last bit of dating advice we ever took off Philip Carroll. As the years went on, we all started getting girlfriends. Simon and John Gordon were the 2 of us left. Simon was always a patient man, and he knew what he wanted. And sure, the tide wouldn't take John Gordon out. Simon had his eye on one woman, but I couldn't figure out who it was. He was like a good poker player, keeping his cards close to his chest. He'd tell me nothing about her. He knew I was a relation of her best friend and now chief bridesmaid, Denise. He was worried that I'd let it slip, and Simon always had his own way of doing things. Things always seemed suspicious to me when we go football training in Eastgate on a Friday evening, where there's a perfectly good working ice cream machine in Eastgate. But Simon insisted we go to Milo's. He said Milo has the best cones around. I know I shouldn't be saying this because I know Milo is down there somewhere. And I don't want to get Kelly in trouble, but I knew there was a bit of a spark between them when Simon would get 2 flakes and I'd only get the 1. But Milo, I'm telling you now, history might start repeating itself. Tara Jane is working up there now, and you want to keep an eye on your flakes. She might have a boyfriend, but you might be down a lot of flakes. So anyways, after a bit of investigating, Simon managed to get Kelly's number. Come on, Billy. And I knew they'd hit it off when I hear the bad exhaust passing the top of my road at 9:05, knowing Kelly finished her shift at 9 o'clock. When Simon and Kelly first began, I knew we'd met a loving, kind warm-hearted and loyal girlfriend. And only a few years ago I realised how strong-minded she really was.